national and official language. A national language, the language of political, cultural, and social square, is generally developed and used as symbol of national unity its people. An official language, by contrast, is simply a language which may be used for government business. Its function is primarily utilitarian rather than symbolic. It's possible, of course, for language to serve both functions. So, Paraguay now has two official languages and one national language, Guarani. The same pattern is found in multilingual.
What is first a national language?
English, not legally an official language of England, the USA, or New Zealand. This country has not been considered necessary to legislate that the language of the majority is an official language. 2. Many countries have regarded the development of single national language as a way symbolizing the unity of nation. One nation, one language has been a popular and effective slogan. In earlier countries, the national language of a political entity often emerged naturally and relatively conspicuously over a period of time. In multilingual countries, the significance of political power in the choice of national language is particularly clear. There are over 100 vernacular languages spoken in the Philippines. In Indonesia, by contrast, the government did not select the language of political and social elite, the Japanese, as the national language. Planning for a national official language form, function, and attitude. Addressing this challenge involves issues relating to the form of the variety, the function it serves, and the attitude that people hold toward it. There are generally four interrelated steps. 1. Selection. Choosing the variety or code to be developed. 2. Codification. Standardizing its structural or linguistic feature. This kind of linguistic processing is known as corpus planning. 3. Elaboration, extending its function for use in new domain. This involves developing the necessary linguistic resource for handling new concepts and contexts. 4. Securing its acceptance. The status of the new variety is important, and so people's attitudes to the variety being developed must be considered. Tanzania. Tanzania consists of selecting a code and codifying and elaborating Swahili. Selecting a code. When Tanzania gained independence in 1961, the government faced the dilemma of which language to choose as its official national language. Choosing one language from over 100 indigenous languages is associated with a particular tribe would have simply provoked discontent if not inter-tribal warfare. Choosing English for a new independent seemed inappropriate, although many other nations have little choice but to use the language of former colonizers as their only official language. Codifying and elaborating Swahili. Following Tanzanian independence in Codifying and elaborating Swahili. Following Tanzanian independence in 1961, Swahili was used in more and more contexts for education, administration, politics, and law. Its vocabulary was expanded to meet the demand of new contexts by borrowing freely from Arabic and English as appropriate. Attitude to Swahili. The charisma of Nyerere himself carried over the language he used extensively in his speeches and his political writing. He used in the domain where formerly English had been used exclusively, Shakespeare prior Julius Caesar and the immersion of Venice into Swahili, and this to increase its status. People have often seen the success of Swahili as the national language in Tanzania's status. It is not identified with a particular tribe. Developing a standard variety in Norway. Selecting code. Two different approaches were taken to develop a standard written variety of Norwegian. One approach selects a variety based on Danish, with some orthographic and morphological modification based on educated urban Norwegian speech. This was later developed into Bokmål, the variety mentioned in the description of Helmsburger in Chapter 1. Codification and elaboration. Nevertheless, it is important to recognize that although Norwegians regard Nynorsk and Bokmål as distinct written varieties that continue to have much in common show, their syntax is almost identical. They differ mainly in the form of particular words, Hemsmelijk versus Hemlich, and in spelling, Igfra versus Fra, but they also share many morphological variants. The linguist's role in language planning. Language academies have existed for centuries, but it's also true that individuals have often had an enormous influence on language planning and especially on the standardization or codification of a variety particle. The focus of much language planning activities has altered from the promotion of national and official language in countries trying to establish their autonomy to include concern for minority and endangered language. Developing vocabulary. Hebrew faces the problem of finding words for everyday colloquial things which were previously referred to in people's vernacular language. More often, a language will need vocabulary for more specialist or formal domains, as was the case with Swahili, Tok Pisin, and Malay, or for concept and object introduced from another culture, as with Navajo in the USA. Acceptance. The Maori Language Commission can recommend that certain language forms be adopted by the media and used in school, just as the Norwegian government regularly publishes its list of approved words. But people have to accept and use them. This was finally determine whether a proper form succeeds or not, and this applies as much to an individual word as to a new code selected to serve as a standard official language. The adoption of form by the media can contribute to the process of government's ambivalence between Bokmål and Nynorsk in Norway has been a sort of confirmation to people, and the regular pronouncement in media on new official usages, which represent attempts at compromise, have not always been accepted. Acquisition planning. Sociolinguists may also make a contribution to organize effort to spread a linguistic variety by increasing the number of its users. This is sometimes called acquisition planning, and since the most widespread method of encouraging the acquisition of language is to use the education system, it is also known language in education planning.